listening to the Shite Talk podcast show. Shut up and sit down.
Welcome once again to the Shite Talk podcast show. Mark and Ken.
What's up?
On episode 205 of the Shite Talk podcast show.
Yeah.
And this is the start of a new era, really.
Kind of. Hopefully.
We're kind of in the path of transition.
We'll just have to see how long it lasts.
Much like Iraq, really. Us and Iraq have a lot in common, except we
Afghanistan.
Whatever. Afghanistan. Have a lot in common right now, because we're in a change of power in a such, and they are too.
We're
Both could end up being a disaster, and more than likely will. But, yeah, so, like, if you're kind of wondering what we're talking about our podcast, imagine you know the Iraq scenario.
Afghanistan.
And the fact that they're two different countries. We've decided on our 204, we broke it to our loyal listeners that the big change for the podcast would be that we're going to phase out stories. And then we just kind of pulled out quite quickly. Really, we just said, no, we're actually going to go from having stories to absolutely no stories without any warning, much like Afghanistan. I got it right that time?
You got it right that time.
Okay, thank God. So like I said, it's very similar. Now we're on the week after this. We've kind of settled down and we're kind of waking up to the reality of what we've done, much like America.
Yeah, the world without stories.
The Shite Talk podcast show without stories. So it'd be interesting. We do kind of have talking points, which some might call stories. They might not. I really don't know too much the difference between a talking point and a story at this stage, but we have stuff. Like, obviously, we probably will talk about Afghanistan. We probably will talk about, and we'll talk about. We have idiots of the week, so we have stories of idiots of the week.
We have idiots for idiots by idiots.
Ken wanted to put Iraq as an idiot of the week, and I kind of agreed. There were stuff. Jesus. I'm going to be doing this the entire show. Afghanistan. So yeah, Afghanistan. Idiot of the week. Mark. We're not knowing the difference.
Mark's history and geography.
Yeah, I was so good at both those subjects. Now I'm just shocking.
So good at the two of them that I wasn't allowed to take them in school.
Yeah, I didn't need to take them in school. They said, "No, Mark, you got this. You'll never really need it outside this classroom. So, like, why bother putting your energy into it?" Little did they know
that one day. Yeah,
but it is kind of mad that 20 years. This kind of like, I'd say the whole Taliban 9/11 war in Iraq, Afghanistan was a defining historical moment of our generation.
One of them, anyway.
Yeah, well, like probably the big one.
Well, the whole pandemic thing there is pretty big.
Well, yeah, I think that will be like the two things will be kind of the kind of huge stories of the time. Obviously, Britain leaving the EU will probably feature somewhere in there. The whole Brexit thing.
Which is funny because now they're asking the EU to take all the refugees from Afghanistan that they don't want to take, despite the fact that they create the whole big mess.
Well, yeah, I think France were there. Were France there? No, the France weren't there. Because remember, there was like a place in America. It was like they wanted freedom fries. They wouldn't call them French fries.
Yeah, that was like, most of America.
Was that because of Afghanistan? Or was that because of Vietnam?
Either Afghanistan or Iraq.
Yeah, because I don't know if France...
Whichever one they went to first.
Yeah, because I don't know if France sent troops that time, because their whole NATO thing.
France didn't go near... I can't remember which one it was. Whichever one the UN said was illegal.
Alright. Be honest with you, I don't know I know we just said it was the defining moment of our generation's biggest story. I don't know a whole lot about it, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I think, we never really had to know an overly big amount about it because it doesn't affect us.
Well, it never wasn't really taught in school. It wasn't old enough to be necessarily history when we were in school as well. It was kind of just like it was news at the time because we were obviously going through it.
Yeah, it was like here's a thing that happened.
So it wasn't like anyone sat us down and goes, here are the facts about Iraq. Like obviously teachers brought it up. I remember several times teachers giving their opinion about what was going on, about reasons why the US were over there and all that. But in terms of like us, like learning the dates and the times and the like in a like historical setting, like we would have maybe the first two world wars or anything like that. We didn't. It's like I think it's understandable. We don't know a whole lot about it.
Yeah,
We've seen the Ross Camp documentary about it, and that's about basically all you need really know.
yeah, basically all that Ireland did about it was gone.
That's mad. But like, imagine
England's getting involved. No, staying away from it.
Imagine like if you were like a mother who seen their son or daughter die over there, lose a limb, or if you were a soldier who was injured over there and you're waking up like Monday morning or Tuesday morning, whenever it happened, and you're just watching the news, so yeah, we're finishing there. And oh, by the way, the Taliban, the Taliban has won. We're just pulling out. Like I know, obviously the US couldn't stay there indefinitely, but just
I don't know why people are surprised by this because this is what America does. Like the first Gulf War was the same thing. First Gulf War, America went and they installed fucking Saddam Hussein in Iraq, and then the Taliban. Yay, here you go. Thanks for helping us with all that other shit. Off you go. You've got your own country. You're in charge now. Bye. And then when it doesn't suit them anymore, when these guys go, hang on, why the fuck aren't we dealing with people in gold, which America's got fuck all of? And then America goes, let's go kill these guys.
Well, no, why I don't get it. It's like they put money into their army. They gave them planes. They taught them how to fly the planes. They gave them tanks. They taught them how to drive the tanks. They trained their army. They trained their soldiers. And no one in the intelligence community said, you know what, there is an appetite amongst these soldiers to actually fight the Taliban. If actually half them probably want to join the Taliban. And we're really just arming the Taliban. And as soon as we leave, the Taliban are just gonna swoop in. And there was no intelligence on that. Like everyone's like, yep, we'll put this time and effort. We'll put $1 trillion of effort into arming a well-equipped army, and then for the army to just be like, yeah, we don't want to fight these guys. Like, it was just seeing like what was the point training the army? Like, what was the point of like going? Whatever about going after? Like, I do think they should have went after Al Qaeda. I think after their attack, and you've seen France do the same with ISIS.
That's the thing there, though. Like, right when ISIS, which we won't get into it, but I think ISIS is a fabricated thing by the Americans and the British anyway. When ISIS came about, right? When ISIS came about, the Americans actually like helped Al Qaeda, who they had been fighting. They teamed up to fight back against fucking ISIS.
Yeah.
So like, how can you go from we're fighting these guys now, then this other group comes along, and then you're going, oh wait, hang on, these guys don't like these guys either. So let's team up now for the crack.
Well, I think the Taliban they don't like. Oh, not the Taliban. Al Qaeda didn't like. The Taliban, I don't know. They're a different subject, and then they have ISIS, who are meant to be a different subject as well.
It's just mental, like.
Yeah, I can use kind of like all the IRAs. Like there's the provisional IRA, the real IRA. They kind of believe it's not the IRA, and. Except these all had different names. They didn't all use the one name. They're like, yeah, we're at the Taliban. But really, they had just different goals. They had the same goal, but different means of getting there. And maybe the Taliban are just the best of the bad evils, or like the most livable evil. But like, if a country doesn't want to fight against it, like if country, or at least certain percentage, majority percentage, or near majority percentage, has no appetite or doesn't even mind these people being in power, why is a foreign power coming in telling them no, they can't be in here because by our standards they're evil, and they're like, so like I kind of feel like they probably are better off just leaving their country. Like we let a lot of shit go on in other countries. Like look at North Korea. 100,000 people at least, or 100 have been like executed. There's like generations in concentration camps. Like Kim Jong-un is definitely probably worse than Hitler, but he doesn't have more of a global ambition. He doesn't want to take over other countries. He's just happy enough murdering, torturing, and executing his own people. So like, we're like, yep, cool. You do what you want to do there.
Yeah, you do you.
Yeah, but if you ever go outside of this little island, we'll get you.
Yeah, I don't know. It just makes no sense to me at all.
Yeah, so like, yeah, because when they said, "Oh, this is about stopping evil," well, there's a lot of evil in the world.
Yeah, it's more about oil and who's got what. Like, what can we benefit from invading this country? Like, that's why North Korea is not a fucking problem. And it's also allies. Like, North Korea is pretty allied with fucking China, isn't it?
China. Yeah, exactly. A war with North Korea is a war with China.
Yeah, and who the fuck wants to do that? And
Yeah.
then you've got Russia probably going to get involved in it, and then you've got fucking all sorts of shit going on then.
Yeah, exactly. If North Korea wasn't aligned with China, it would have been gone. It would have been US would have tried to overthrow Kim Jong-un and stick this southern guy in.
Yeah, and likewise, the only thing protecting South Korea is
US.
the United States.
Yeah, exactly. And I think most of the superpowers know that a war between them isn't a good thing. It's not going to be a good thing for anybody involved. No. And no one really has an appetite of. That's probably a good thing that there is that like clarity between like.
That they're all like, here, let's not kill.
That's not like. Yeah, imagine the Chinese person guy went to North. Remember when their whole kind of nuclear thing and with him and Donald Trump, and you're like, oh my god, we actually are going to get involved in a nuclear war. This is pretty bad. I'm pretty sure the Chinese guy went in and gone, you know what? Just don't do that.
Yeah, let's not do that.
Yeah, just send out your propagandas, but just don't get involved. Don't send a rocket that way. It's a lot of shit. But yeah, it's mad. It was like even at the airports of. You know, ever see people holding on to planes? Like they're going up and like I don't know what they are thinking. I'd love to know their thought process as they're holding on to a plane as it was taking. Maybe they haven't. They don't know about how cold it is in the like really high in the sky, or how did they imagine they're going to hold on to the plane the entire way to America? Like they're just going to sit holding on for. I don't know how long it is. They probably have to stop over in Shannon to refuel. Maybe they get off there.
Like, I think it was probably just desperation.
I know it was desperation, but like in their desperation, what did they thought? What did you think the best scenario was? That the plane would stop and not let them, or just like, oh here, get off the wing, or we'll let you on because we can't take off with you holding on to a plane. Like that plane was getting mobbed. If they didn't take off when they did, that plane was not going to take off.
Yeah, like it's like I don't know. Like if you were in that situation, would you do the same? You probably
hold
would.
on to a plane. No, I'd be like, oh shit. Well, there goes my chance.
Yeah, well, like you're going to die anyway.
Die by plane. I'd rather die by plane, please.
You know, like there's a massive chance that you're going to be killed anyway. So
there is. I just love the idea of like what your man thought was going to happen to what you know. You ever see those memes about what you think is going to happen, like bear attack? There's one of a bear attack. What if you were attacked by a bear and you try to fight it off, and the reality of the situation. So like what he thought was going to happen, that he'd hold on, that he'd go up in the sky, that he'd see all these stars, he'd hold on, and he'd be a little bit cold, but he wouldn't be too bad. He'd land in America and he's A-okay and everything's fine. Reality, as plane taking off, him hitting the ground. Like it just seems. I know it was a fucked up situation. I know, like the speed of American pulling out caused so much panic. People weren't able to get to passports or weren't able to get the fuck out of Dodge in time. It's just mad that he thought he could hold on to a plane the entire way. It's just kind of, to me, it's crazy. Maybe they're just not you. Obviously, this is a country that hasn't grown up with flying on planes, hasn't been in planes, hasn't looked at a little TV that tells you how cold it is outside. So it'd be like, wouldn't be wrong to like not know how cold it is, thousands and thousands of feet, or the speed of how fast a plane takes off and the velocity that plane suffers, or the wind flow coming over it as you try to hold on. That is just not humanly possible to do that.
Like, you don't really know what they've been taught and what they haven't been taught. Like,
they probably haven't seen aircraft investigations.
Yeah, well, like, chances are, you know, the way America were kind of like bombing schools and stuff.
Yeah.
Like, so chances are a lot of them probably weren't overly educated about things anyway. Particularly younger people in Afghanistan.
Yeah, and as you said, like, this was their last ditch effort to try to get out. This was like, it's either I get onto this plane or I don't think I'll get out of here alive, or I don't know what's going to happen. I was helping the US. I was working in the embassies. They'll know I was helping the US. I am fucked, and the Taliban are on their way here. I can hear them shooting.
Like, I seen one guy. He was working in the embassy. He lived in the UK for 12 years or something.
Yeah.
He moved to the UK just after the US invaded Afghanistan. So he moved there like 2001, 2002, because the Taliban were obviously fairly vicious. And he lived there for 12 years. He came back when he thought it was kind of safer to be back in Afghanistan. He got he got married. He had kids. The kids are British citizens. And they told him that him and the kids can evacuate, but the wife isn't welcome in the UK. So he's made the decision to stay with his family in Afghanistan and hope they're not all killed.
Why was his wife not allowed?
Because she's not a UK citizen.
All right. Yeah. Imagine he would have got it
But
because
like,
of the whole kid
she
thing.
literally is the mother of 2 UK citizens.
Yeah, exactly. Like, you would have, like, most, maybe Ireland's different, but I always thought, like, if you're a parent of a person from Ireland, you automatically get citizenship. But maybe that's just, like...
They refused her visa.
But surely she can apply for asylum seeker, or whatever the term is for a person who's fleeing from war.
That's what I don't know. I don't understand what's going on with him. Like, sure, that's what I thought as well. Like, surely he can apply for, or she can apply to go as a refugee.
Yeah. Once she gets on UK soil at all, she goes, "You can't throw me out now. I'm a refugee."
But maybe it's complicated by the fact that he's a citizen. I don't know.
Yeah. You imagine how it would have made it easier. That is mad. I've also seen a lot of fucking idiots who said, "Oh, they thought it was like a good idea to go on holidays to Afghanistan for summer, and now they're really regret it because they're stuck in Afghanistan." And I was like, well, what do you fucking expect?
Yeah, I've seen one fucking mong, and he's complaining because he's stuck there.
Yeah, he's like, I thought it was a good idea, and apparently it isn't. And I was like, yeah, apparently it isn't.
Yeah, no shit, Sherlock.
Now, my friend who was driving to Mongolia, I think he drove through Afghanistan a little bit. It was wise not to now. Even then, it was like, probably not the best idea, but a bit they drove through like Afghanistan, just to be in there. But like, that was like, we are passing through. We are not spending any amount of time here.
Yeah, we're not going to spend the next fucking 8 years here.
Yeah, or we're not going to spend the summer here.
Yeah, like, I just think people are fucking moronic. Like, that guy that I seen, like, he was literally on fucking Instagram and Twitter and stuff complaining that he is now stuck in a fucking NATO base somewhere in the fucking Middle East.
Well, at least he's in a NATO base, unless the NATO base is now abandoned and he's only there because no one else was there.
Like he was given out because he had to get evacuated. Like he was in just a fucking moron. He was in the capital of Afghanistan.
Kabul.
He was that's the one. Yeah. He was there, and then while he was up on a roof making a video or something, the Taliban basically arrived. And everybody in the hotel had to flee, and they all went to a NATO base, obviously protected by like NATO soldiers and stuff. And he was like, "I don't know why I had to do this, and my holiday."
Yeah, but like even around that part of the world, though, if you have like a drone, that's considered a spy weapon. Like you're not allowed. In those Kistan places, you are not allowed to have a drone. If they catch you with a drone, it's prison time. Once again, we should actually probably think about getting him on because he has a lot of fucked up stories from that trip. But like, they had to hide their fucking drone in the dashboard of their car. Like, they just peel off, but like if they expected they had anything like that, like they would have been fucked.
That's mad, like.
Yeah, I'm sure you could probably pay them off though. Really poor military people go, "Oh, I'm sorry, here's money."
I didn't know what was going on.
I don't know. Here's 50 quid.
Yeah, shut up.
Don't kill me. Don't arrest me and put me in your jails. But like, if they did watch the video, they said like you can watch it. It isn't of us spying on your military bases. It's us fucking showing our stupid little car going through a puddle.
A stupid little car going through a
puddle. So unimpressive. Look at
it. Splash.
Yeah, but like it's kind of mad that like he was. I would like to have traveled through there and see like it, but like I'd wait till it's like it's safe. Maybe he thought it was safe. Maybe he thought the war was over, but like it wasn't. It was, if anything, heating up for the last 6 months.
Yeah,
but like I don't know. It's kind of a bit of a strange. It's just, to me, it just struck me as like, oh, it's over now. All of that for nothing. Like that was it.
Yeah, like I seen a lot of one of the British newspapers was talking to like soldiers that had actually been there, and there's a guy like he lost his legs in Afghanistan, and he was like fairly pissed about it all.
Yeah, no, like I said, there's going to be people who are paraplegics and people who have either lost friends, are suffering through PTSD, who have had all sorts of injuries or parts blown off, and they're going to feel like all of that sacrifice was for nothing. You're just like, oh yeah, we're bored now, we're out. And not only the UK government, the US government don't give a fuck, but the Afghani government doesn't give a fuck, and they just like welcomed the Taliban back. It was just like, yeah. And by the way, we also armed your forces. We've not only are we pulling out, you're also going to have at least 300,000 worth of weaponry, military, and planes, and people who know how to fly these planes.
Yeah, like it's not a good situation.
If you were a person who's currently in a wheelchair, I think you'd be right to be kind of pissed, like at the whole fucking thing.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah, but it's kind of fucking mad. On a completely different topic, Slane is turned 40 years old. Slane was more than 40, the castle, but in terms of having concerts there, was 40 years ago. So for people outside Ireland, Slane is a castle that was owned by a lord. Henry Mount Charles is the guy who owns this, and he decided 40 years ago that what he was going to do with the land is bring the biggest bands from around the world and from Ireland here to play on this. He picks the artist who plays here, and He brings them over. 80,000 people are basically in this field, and on backdrop you can see his kind of castle-y house. And like every year, I think there's only one concert a year, is there?
Yeah, except for a couple of years, broke that rule.
Like, and so there's this kind of mystique about going to Slane. Everyone in Ireland is like, you should have a Slane experience. It's kind of like our Woodstock.
Yeah, that's a good way to explain it.
Yeah, it's kind of like our Woodstock or Glastonbury if you're in the UK. It's like a pilgrimage people, music lovers want to do, and people want to play here. Kind of like you already been to Slane a few times. You've seen like
I've been there once.
You only seen Metallica there. That was your only Slane experience.
Yeah, my only Slane experience.
Yeah. So like, what was that experience like? What, like, for your first time there, hearing about all the...
I fucking hate Slane.
Yeah? What? So, like, okay, break it down for me. What did you do? Did you go into town, get the bus to Slane, do that giant walk?
I drove in our camper van to Slane.
Oh, you drove a camper van. So yeah, that's a solid move. It was on a Saturday, so you drove on the Friday in the camper van, stayed over there.
Went down Friday, stayed Saturday.
Yeah.
Drove back Sunday. But the thing that I hated about Slane was, like, the campsite and stuff was really good. The campsite was grand, fine, no issues with the campsite. The problems that I had with it was just that there was, when you get into the concert, you've got 2 fucking bars, you've got 2 toilets, and there's 80,000 people there.
Okay. There isn't 2 toilets. There's two
toilet areas.
Yeah, 2 toilet areas. Just so, like, for people who are listening who haven't been to Slane, are like, what? There's 2 toilets, 1 boys and 1 girls in the whole entire place, and that's one of the 8. No, there's like 2 toilet areas, and there were 2 bars. I thought maybe there was a 3rd bar. I think there was a place where you could get the Slane whiskey. That was like a different, apart from the beer place.
Yeah.
So I think there was technically 3. But there wasn't a whole lot. Now, there wasn't huge queues in terms of, like, when you were going there for the bar. It kind of passed pretty quickly, the whole getting the beer. There was a little bit of a wait. You'd probably be waiting there about 5 minutes, maybe, to get your alcohol.
I fucking didn't even bother. I was like, fuck this shit.
There was a point when I was at Metallica, there was a point where all the people were peeing on the fence. And what was funny, like, so obviously there was a fence to get into, like, and over that fence is the toilets. So there was people just peeing on the fence. And there was a point where there was actually, like, urinals free in the bathroom area. And there was toilets free, but people were choosing to pee on the fence. People preferred the fence.
Well, I was one of those people that was peeing on the fence.
I was one of those people who were peeing on the fence. I was like, I was like, well, I could pee on the fence, or I could have to walk in there, and there mightn't be urinals there, and this is quicker. This is objectively quicker.
Where I was, so many people were peeing on the fence that there was an actual guard standing at the fence.
Saying what, like, here, clear off?
He's like, you can't pee here.
Yeah, there was a guard when I was there too who was like, here, hurry up and get on there. Don't be peeing on the fence.
Yeah, like, guards like, you can't pee here. And then, like, everybody started chanting at him, like, fuck off. And he kind of talked out of it, and he, like, stopping people peeing on the fence.
Well, do you know what? Like, it's a whole thing of, like, how do I escalate this? Do I get more guards over here? Do we have to arrest them? Because then we're going to have to put them on the ground. There's pee on the ground and mud. I'm going to get that all over me, and it's just like, I'd rather not. It'd be like, it's easier just to let them pee in their own filth.
And you've also got the thing of, okay, like, realistically, there's probably, like, I don't know, 50 guards here.
Yeah,
like, we're, like, vastly outnumbered by people peeing on the fence.
Well, I actually really liked my Metallica experience. I went to Slane twice. I went to see Foo Fighters and I went to see Metallica, and I did I wouldn't say glamping. It definitely wasn't glamping, but it was the glamping area, and they had like little teepees. And I'm not even too. I don't think they had mattresses. I think in the glamping you get a mattress, but they just you have to bring your own thing to sleep on.
Yeah.
And we had like a band play the night before in this barn. There was a fire. People were drinking. People were having a crack. So that Friday night was class. And then the next day we woke up, we got breakfast. You could have a shower in a like tiled bathroom. Like the toilets were lovely and clean. Everything was nice. Breakfast was all right. And then you had a few beers, and they drove you in a in a trailer to the concert. So you cut out all the walking. You had a very short walk. You basically walked from the bridge to the concert itself, which was the biggest pain of Slane for me. Was the walk from the bus to the concert. So like to have that cut out, it was still long. From the bridge is like you're only halfway there, but like at least you're halfway there. Like, and then after we came back after the gig, we came back and they picked us up from the bridge and drove us in the trailer back, and then they allowed us to make a campfire again and just have drinks and have the chats with people who are also there. So that was class. So that was kind of good because there's kind of like a camp site kind of feel the whole thing, which was nice. But Foo Fighters was an absolute fucking disaster. For people who haven't been to Slane, majority of people you have to make your way into Dublin town, and you get like a bus, and the bus is about 40 minutes to Slane from there, an hour.
Yeah, I have no idea.
I think it's 40 minutes to an hour with traffic, but then they drop you off a little bit outside the whole Slane village, and you have to walk into the village. And then, like, which feels like it takes forever. Then you have to walk from the village to like the Slane Castle, which is like I said, it's halfway there. Like, so you're just walking for it. By the time you get to the campsite, you're so fucked, or to the concert, you're so fucked from the walk. And then just after the concert, after like 3 hours or however long you're there for, the idea of walking back is like, it's so awful that like I think the best thing to do is to camp there. Well, like, yeah, I think the glamping area, if anyone's going back to, that is the thing. Book that early, buy your tickets, and then go to it. But I remember for Foo Fighters, it was piss and rain. It was it was forecast to be pretty bad, so you came prepared. You came with your boots and your wet gear, your coats, but like it didn't matter. Everyone got soaked anyway. Everyone got drowned. You know that little hill, the hill that you have to walk up to get out of the concert, like, because obviously the concert's at the bottom, where the stage is at the bottom of a hill, and like everyone basically sits on top of the hill, looking down at the band playing. So getting back up there on a rainy day, people actually couldn't. People were trying to like leave the place and slipping back down and falling on their face as they tried to leave, because the ground was so saturated and just torn up from people, like 80,000 people walking on it, that it was almost impossible to get out of Slane in terms of trying to leave.
I remember going to see AC/DC in Punchestown, and that was a fucking disaster. Like, that was the same thing. It was like the ground was so wet, and there's lads falling in the mud, and then at the top of the hill, there's lads pissing down the hill. You're like looking at these lads at the bottom, going, "Oh man, you are rolling around that lad's piss."
Was that you again?
Maybe.
Yeah, no. When I was there, like I had all my wet gear on. I was super drunk as well, even before Foo Fighters came out. That that was like I remember concert all right, but like Getting out of concert was like difficult. Drunk Mark trying to get up a slippy hill. You can imagine how that went. So like, there's a few slips of like on my knees. Like, I think I might have to just climb out of here. There's like hands in the mud, like doing like climbing up the hill. But managed to get out. Everybody was drowned. So like pissing rain the whole day. So I took off my coat, and my friend Jacqueline looked at me with pure disgust and goes, "Mark, are you sunburned?" The entire bus turns around and looks at me going, "What's fucking wrong with you?" I had gotten sunburned. I do not know how I got sunburned. I don't know. There must have been a tiny slither of sun somewhere in the day, but I managed to get it directly at my face. And yeah, I got not fairly badly burned, but I got like a good colour.
a good hearty Irish colour.
Yeah, nice higher Irish tan there going. And I was just like, I just remember like there was a girl sitting in front of her, and there's with a guy, and then there's another, and they just turned around and just looked, and it was just disgust as well. It's like, how did that happen? Yeah, and then after the gig, we were soaking wet, and we decided to go to like a bar for a few drinks after Foo Fighters. And this is like, I just feeling like I just wanted to go home. I had to say, the alcohol had started to worn off. You know, when you're hungover and then you try to start re-drinking. I was like, oh, I just don't care. I just want to go home. So then I had to get a bus from town to Naas. And there's this guy in a suit who had to sit beside me. He'd already been on the inside, and the bus was filling up. And it was like him or like a few other people seats left, so I was to sit beside him, and he's just trying to keep as far away from me as possible.
It wasn't Spencer, was it?
No, it wasn't Spencer. Could have been his dad or his uncle. Imagine them both very dapperly dressed. Yeah, but there's a few times where I come back from like a metal concert or a concert, and you're just baked in sweat, and like get on the bus on the way home, and you're just like sitting beside somebody who's at a nice dinner with friends. It was probably a work thing, and they have to sit beside this smelly, stinky rocker guy, and you're like, "Hey, have a good night."
They should have got a different bus.
Yeah, shouldn't have got the bus. Should have got like a taxi home. Yeah, but like, yeah. Do you have any other mad like kind of concert experiences?
I remember one time going to see Motorhead, and Motorhead were playing in the Ambassador.
Yeah.
And on the walk up to the Ambassador, this woman came up to me and my friend, and she was like, just shouting and roaring at us about how we were pornographers.
Pornographers.
And we were like, what is the story with this mad bitch? But they were like, yeah, there's some sort of a like protest against Motorhead going on. Like, I don't know, she's probably protesting against rock music in general.
Yeah. You're all going to die. You're all going to hell.
Hey, you are pornographers. I just remember that. Like, I was only like maybe 15, 16. I was like, what is wrong with this fucking weirdo?
Yeah. Because like, I think Foo Fighters. Metallica was my favorite concert. Like, and one prior to Metallica was the last time I was at Metallica. And I'm more of a Foo Fighters fan. So like, that'll say how good Metallica are live. But there's like kind of two kind of other concert experiences that kind of stick out. One was the Strokes, and they were playing Oxygen, and it was like a music festival. It was the Strokes. After the Strokes was Arctic Monkeys. So it was a pretty good. I think Miles Kane played before them, and I have no idea if the Strokes were good or bad or indifferent. Just the crack that was happening in Mosh Pit. People were trying to like make a human period, and then people tried to mosh the human period down, and there's like some antics in the Mosh Pit area. I just remember going, oh. Was anyone actually paying attention to the Strokes? Were they good? I had so much fun in the Mosh. I had paid no attention to the band actually on stage. Oh,
When again with AC/DC, I got into the pit for AC/DC, and we got there early. We got pit passes and all that shit. And there was a woman in the crowd in the pit with us that was very, very heavily pregnant.
Oh shit!
And we got talking to her, and she was like, "We were like, what happens if you go into labor right now?" And she's like, "Well, then, like, it's a really, really cool birth story, isn't it?"
Yeah, I guess so. Like, there's ambulance people there. I'm pretty sure one of them can fucking assist.
But like, we were like, "What the fuck?" Like, you're literally in the pit at a rock concert.
You have to call the child Angus if like if you are born at an AC/DC concert. That's a rule.
Like, what the fuck?
Yeah, that is mad. But yeah, you wonder what like people who like bring either their child into a mosh pit, like whatever way bring them to a heavy metal gig. Fair enough, but like into an area where there's men flinging each other into each other, and like there's people who are mentally like hinged. Was just like maybe this isn't the best place for your child. Maybe a little bit further back. Like,
Yeah,
no one can see the artist.
I can kind of explain this, right? So, like, it all depends on the age demographic of the crowd. This is something that I've figured out. So, like, if you've got an older band, even when their fans were younger, like, if you've got a band like Metallica or like Slayer and stuff, they tend to like look out for each other. The crowd will like mind each other. Like, if you're in a pit even at a Slayer gig, if you were in a pit at a Slayer gig and you fall over, somebody's going to stop and pick you up. And it's all just basically shoving and pushing. There's no like real violence going on. But if you go to like, there's a lot of like newer rock fans where it's all like fucking elbows and spinning wheel kicks and all this shit.
Oh, it's the spinning elbows, or people like who wear spikes. There's also a lot of people on cocaine who go into mosh pits, and like maybe in older ones there probably are people on cocaine, or maybe they're not as bad on cocaine as the guy who's trying to punch everybody in sight.
Yeah, I just don't understand that.
Yeah, most like even when I went to like newer rock places like Trivium or But for My Valentine's, bands like that when I was younger, and most people looked out for one another then as well. But yeah, it was those ones that I seen kind of, if there was like, there would be people kind of like acting out in the audience, like throwing fists in the air, like, you know, that thing where they go and they're like swinging hooks and they're like, try like anyone who like gets in my path, I'm gonna hit.
Yeah, like I remember seeing Slayer when Tom Araya like came out before the gig, and I was like, look, this is the rule. If somebody falls, you pick them up. If I see like serious violence up here, I'm gonna stop, and you're gonna have a fucking problem. Like,
yeah, well, that's probably a nice thing about it. But like, yeah, I think the other kind of like big concert experience I seen was like, once again, auction, where I was like setting up my tent, and some guy I literally just set it up, and some guy tried to pee on it. So I was like, what the fuck are you doing? And then he went around like to the other side of the tent, and I was like the tent was only up to my hip. Like, I can see over, and he tried to pee on that side. And I was like, get the fuck away from my tent. I can still see you. So he turned around to the next tent where the person was in the tent and peed on that. And like, we had purposely set up our place where like, it was like, across the way was like the food stalls. And just down from us was the toilet. So like, literally 2 minutes walk and you would have been at the toilets. Like, there was no need for him to pee on other people's tents.
Like, I've Slane was the only real kind of like festival, if you want to call it a festival, that I've ever gone to. Like, I don't like the idea of sleeping in a tent.
No, I don't either. I'm so over the whole campsite thing. I did it for Metallica, obviously, and that one I kind of enjoyed, but like, even the sleeping the night before was awful. Waking up ridiculously hungover the next day, I didn't enjoy that, like, in a tent, because it was, even that fact that you're drunk, you're still freezing cold. It was still really cold there. I think it was in February. So imagine sleeping outside in Ireland in February. Like, it isn't nice. It wasn't a nice experience. And I wasn't really prepared in terms of how cold or how bad sleeping conditions were. So I didn't bring, like, too much, like, warm clothes or anything like that. So that was pretty shit. But, like, in terms of, I think that's why I like sea sessions. That's why I think sea sessions work so well, because majority of people will go, say, either in a hotel, or you can rent apartments. So you can actually, and then the festival itself is in the village. It's in Bundoran village. It isn't in a field on the outskirts of Bundoran. It's actually in the village itself. So everything, the village kind of adopts the festival. So you're allowed to be pissed drunk, go karting. You're allowed to bring your beer into a pub where they have live bands. They just let people run the muck for that weekend. And so that's why I like that part of it.
Yeah, like I wouldn't go back near Slane again unless it was Metallica or AC/DC or some band that I really, really want to see. Like, Guns N' Roses played Slane a couple of years ago, and I really like Guns N' Roses, but Guns N' Roses weren't a big enough attraction to make me go to Slane.
Yeah, no, it has to be a big band. Like, obviously, Foo Fighters is my favourite band, so if they play anywhere, I generally will try to get tickets to see them. Or Metallica, like, they're the best band I've seen live. There are a few, like System of a Down, I would definitely go see them in there. There are other ones that I might, like, Elton John's playing, like, a farewell concert. If he was playing Slane, and other people are interested in going to it, I might go see Elton John as well.
Yeah.
So, but, like, yeah, there's be very, but, like, then again, there will be very few people I want to see live anyway. I don't like concerts as general. I've kind of almost grown out of it.
Like, I wouldn't go to, like, at Slane, there was I got talking to a bunch of people on the way back, and they were all like, "Oh my god, like, I didn't know any Metallica songs. I'm only here because it's Slane, because it's a crack, but Jesus, they were really good." I'm like, why the fuck you putting yourself through this shit?
Yeah,
see a band that you don't even fucking know.
Yeah. Yeah, like, I don't understand that. Like,
I've gone to see bands that I don't know, that, like, maybe my friend wanted to go see or whatever, but, like, not in a fucking field over the space of 3 days.
Some kip in need that's, like, really, really hard to get to.
Like, I've gone to, like, fucking town to see bands and whatever, but, like, I'm not going to go to fucking the middle of Mead, spend €100 for a fucking ticket to see a band that I've never heard of.
Yeah, no, when you're younger, it's kind of like, I don't know, maybe you don't think about the, like, how shit it will be, or maybe that doesn't bother you as much, of being, like, the long trek in. That's all part of it. The whole, like, getting the bus there, the long walk, the, like, drinking in a field, all that is, like, it's part of the experience for when you're young. But when you're older, you're just like, it wasn't worth it. I am tired.
See, like, none of the rest of it bothered me, except just basically the setup of the fucking venue.
Yeah, so you think if they had, like, more bars, more toilets?
I drove there. Like, the drive didn't bother me. It actually was quicker than I expected. I was expecting it to be, like, fucking chock-a-block and take ages to get there, but it was actually fine. What else? Like, there's a group of people I knew there, so, like, we all just had the crack at nighttime in the campsite. Getting into the campsite was fine. There's no issues with anything. It was literally just the fucking venue.
Yeah, that is. Yeah, I didn't mind it too much. Like, generally, what I do for concerts, I get all my drinking done early, so that when main band comes on, like, I can enjoy that. So we were drinking in the campsite before going down. Then we got our drinks, so I didn't really mind waiting around too much. Like, I didn't have to queue for toilets. Like I said, I was just pissed off the fence. So that the toilet situation didn't bother me too much. It was just kind of, like, to me, it's the effort you have to go to get in and then back out. To me, was probably the reason I I wouldn't be so quick to go back to Slane or to like any concert where there's like some kind of trek to get to, like some Marley Park. I'll probably never go to. Like
Marley Park again, same thing. I'd only ever go to Marley Park if it was for Metallica, I think.
yeah, like yeah, even I think Foo Fighters played there with Tenacious D. Now I was going to do it for that. I couldn't get tickets. It sold out pretty quick. But other than that, like that's the only one that I like. But even when Foo Fighters, I was like, oh, like Marley Park is even worse than Slane to get out of. Like it's just such a kip. But yeah, we'll move on to Idiot of the Week. We only really have one Idiot of the Week. I know we mentioned the whole Afghanistan thing. That was Ken's Idiot of the Week, and I can't.
It's more the US and Britain more so than Afghanistan. Like Afghanistan is just doing what it's always done.
Yeah, being war. Yeah, but like, yeah, the US is pulling out and going, oh, well, that's over. That's 20 years got then, right? But fuck it. $1 trillion later, a few thousand people dead. You know, good luck. Yeah, but my Idiot of the Week is a guy who wanted to bring his kids to see the sea while the tide was out. He was driving a 7-seater Ford, kind of space wagon, kind of looks like a van converted into a people carrier.
Yeah.
And decided to drive onto the beach to get a better view. The person who was telling the story, it was already calling him Idiot of the Week. He's got very good. Every line was, and the idiot. And then, like, because he said, like, most normal people would wait for the tide to come in. Where he has a point, like, if the tide's out, you don't bring your kids out to see the tide. You just wait till the tide comes in. It'll literally come to you, and your kids can see the sea then. Would wait, but try to drive out onto the sand. And most people, like, after 100 meters of sand, it just turns to mud, and then he drove 200 meters, so he drove another 100 meters after that. Like, miraculously didn't get his van stuck sooner, but ended up fucking getting stuck anyway, and realizing his van was starting to sink in the mud. So basically just watched his van get swallowed up by the tide. He did ring like some company to come help him pick up his van, but by that time, like, the tide was already coming in. But like, I don't understand, like, why you think would it be a good idea to drive on a beach with kids.
Why would it not be a good idea to drive on a beach with kids?
I do have a little bit of sympathy for him now, though.
Why?
Because, like, I did get a van beached before.
Of course you did.
So, like, we have, like, 1,000-liter tank in the van, and we have to fill it up. So sometimes, like, there's these things called fire hydrants, which I guess everyone knows what a fire hydrant is. So we have to drive up on the grass to get at the entry point for the fire hydrant, and we were filling up the water. We were doing it it was, like, kind of, like, coming into summer in Ireland when this happened. So we were doing it, and it was fine. It was, like, most of the days were dry, so the ground was hard. So we drove up, it was grand, it came off, and I was coming as the weather was, like, a little bit wetter, and I noticed that maybe one or two of the days there was, like, Tweedle would just slightly spin, and I was like, oh, maybe it was coming out of summer, because I remember saying, oh, in a few weeks we probably won't be able to do this here, and, like, one of the other guys goes, no, it was fine, it was raining the day on Saturday, we were here, and it was fine, we got the van out, no problem. But when I got it, it was fucking end up beaching the van spinning, and I end up trying to, like, find him wood or find stuff to try to spin the van out, try to get out, and be like, oh, nothing, I can't dislodge it. We had a metal pole that we put under, like, the tires, see if we could get a lift, and it just span on it and, like, made the metal just really shiny. I was like, oh. And so it's like, maybe put it on the back of it, and that did nothing either. And then, like, we had no rope at all in the van. So it's like, all we had was our hose that we used to fill up the van. And we're like, so we got a truck driver to tie a piece of hose onto the truck and onto the van. And we just tried to pull the van off and just snapped the hose straight away. So I was like, oh, our van's stuck. and now we've also snapped the hose. And so I was like, I know we have 1,000. We have to lighten the van. So I released 1,000 liters to try and lighten the van. Of course, you spray 1,000 liter on the ground. What happens is there's now absolutely no fucking traction in this thing at all. And I think someone found like some sort of rope. We did manage to get it out eventually, but they're like, yeah, maybe don't use that hydrant spot again. I was like, yeah, lesson learned.
That might not have been the best idea in the world.
Yeah, so I can understand, but like, in fairness, there wasn't going to be a tide come and take the van away. Like, I felt dumb for doing that, but we've done it a few times. For a person who was on holidays, so obviously doesn't know the beach, to drive up and like driving on sand isn't the best idea anyway.
Yeah, I always hate going to the beach. Where like is it Bettystown? You're allowed to like drive on the beach, and it's like, oh, I hate this place.
Oh really? Is that sand hard enough to drive on?
Like, I fucking hate the beach anyway.
Yeah,
but like, yeah, it's like. It's just a shitty beach.
Yeah, there's a lot of beaches like that, but like, surely there's parking on like somewhere in the street. If you want to walk out, like take off your shoes.
That's the thing. Like, there's actually no parking even on the street in Bettystown. Like, you literally have to drive onto the beach to park.
I don't know why people go to places like that. That's like so unrealistic. Like Portmarnock,
it's nowhere to park.
Portmarnock's another place where there's literally no parking in Portmarnock. Every car gets clamped because literally they park illegally, and the guards just come along with their like fine books and just fine, and all along like a mile down the road there's just people who are fine, and places where there are parking like golf or tennis places. That's all private. So if you park there, you're getting clamped as well. And then there's all housing estates who also have signs up saying that you will get clamped if you leave your car here. Like, it's like anyone who lives in the area are so sick and tired of people outside the area coming in and like just parking anywhere they want. It's like there's just nowhere to park, and there's no one ever thought like, oh, maybe we put a parking space for these people. This happens every year.
Yeah, like, I never understand how it's a logical idea for like. There's a beach here. There's a lot of people that come here. Well, let's provide no parking.
Yeah. Now, some of them, like, I don't know, Bettystown, I've never been to that beach before, but like some of them will have like trains. There are bus services to the area, so like I kind of feel like people should just cop on and just get the train there. If you know, like Portmarnock or Hote is not too bad. You can find parking in Hote, but other places like that there are trains there and shit, but there is shit parking. Just get the train. People are like, no, I want to drive.
You see, I hate taking the train or the fucking bus or any of that shit.
Yeah, I hate it too. But like, if it's the difference between like being stressed trying to either get my car out of somewhere or find a spot for my car, I'll take the train.
Oh, I'm definitely taking the stress.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Fuck that. Like, if I want to go home, I want to go home now. I don't want to like get home in like fucking 2 hours.
Yeah, I can kind of understand that. Like, I think if you want to take the train, it's probably better off to put up a time like we're gonna be out of here at this time because this is when the train is in advance, and then be like, but because you don't have the flexibility of going, oh, I can leave whenever I want. Like, I might enjoy myself, or I might want to leave an hour earlier. But yeah, you kind of have to plan like this is the time I have to suffer through if I am to enjoy myself, because this is what time the trains are.
Like, that's what I fucking hate, trains and buses. And I get travel sick on the bus as well, so I fucking really hate the bus.
Yeah, like I think if you grow up like probably like me and you, where we probably got a car earlier. It's not nice. Like getting, you just despise the idea. It's like, like getting the train or getting the bus or getting anything like that. I'm like, no, I'll walk. I prefer to walk.
Yeah, I fucking really hate trains aren't as bad as buses. I just fucking really hate the fucking bus.
Yeah, trains definitely aren't as bad as buses or trams. Trams aren't as bad as buses are the worst in terms of what is bad. But it's because they move so bad. They're slowly. They're constantly in traffic.
That's the thing that annoys me about the bus. Like, literally, if I was to get the bus, if I drive from my house to work, it's like maybe, if there's bad traffic, it's maybe 45 minutes. But if I get the bus, it's 2 hours. Yeah,
imagine having that commute to get to work every day. Is there anyone that travels that far out who works in your place?
No.
Yeah, I often hear people who travel like either an hour or like 2 hours to get to work. I'm like, that is 4 hours in your day. I know people who worked in town and used to drive to the Lewis, and then from the Lewis, it's 40 minutes in. So it used to be like 20 minutes to get to Lewis. Then it's 40 minutes. So it's an hour commute at all, and it's like they used to dread that commute on Lewis every day.
Oh, it's a pain in the hole.
Yeah. Anyway, we're going to leave it there. That public transport is the worst. And
public transport.
Yeah, it isn't great when you have a vehicle, when you're motoring independent. But yeah, and our idea of the week is our advice for the week is don't drive on beaches, and don't go to concerts. I guess.
Don't go to Afghanistan.
Or Afghanistan on holidays. That's what you should take away from the holiday is concerts suck, buses suck, and Afghanistan on holidays bad idea.
Yeah.
We'll be back next week on our 206 episode of the Shite Talk Podcast Show. We'll talk to you then.
Good luck.
Shut up and sit down.